Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we're going to start taking a look at these new Wave 2 Dino Rivals Savage Strike figures. I recently was able to score both this and the Dimetrodon, so it's time to take a look at both. Today we're going to start with the Tapejara, and this is one that honestly I was really looking forward to. I could not wait to get it just because of how beautiful the paint is that I saw in the promotional images, and it is honestly just as nice in person as those promo images led me to believe. So I am beyond super excited to finally have this figure. I spent quite a few weeks trying to get a hold of it ever since I had seen that they were released in the United States. Took me a little bit, but luckily I was able to score both of them just a few days ago. I went to a Walmart when I was on vacation, and I happened to stumble over to the Jurassic World area, of course, and they were not there. But I turned around and saw a box sitting there waiting to be put out, and it said Savage Strike on the side, so I had someone go ahead and open it for me, and boom, there they were, and here they are now. So, let's go ahead and get it out of the box. Now actually, I didn't even mention the box. Taking a look at the box, we can see there a beautiful image there of the Tapejara on the back, and then down there you've got the Savage Strike Styracosaurus, Dimetrodon Blue, and Monolophosaurus there. And of course it states that there is a card included, which you can see is gone because I got the box open and took the card out. Very cool looking image there of the Tapejara itself, and you've got some of its stats as well. And then Dino Rivals Jurassic World. But these cards, I really love them. Even though there is quite a few inaccuracies on a lot of the cards, they are still really cool. I would have, again, I've said this time and time again, that I would have preferred these to be more like the Kenner ones, where you had interaction between the dinosaur or pterosaur or whatever it is, and a human being, which they used to always put on their cards. But regardless, it is still awesome to have cards because we didn't have these previously. And here is the Tapejara itself. Really cool looking at first glance. Again, it's a pterosaur, so he's just going to flop down on his stomach. Not much we can do as far as positioning him up to really look at, but let's get a closer look and then we'll be able to check him out quite nicely. So starting up here at the head sculpt, I am really quite impressed with it. I think the head sculpt sports some very nice detail, and one thing that's actually straight away catching my attention is back here on the skin flap here of the head crest, where you can see like some imperfections where maybe it's got a few tears in the actual skin flap, and that's really cool. I really like that because it's a beautiful bit of realism that you would have probably seen on this type of an animal, which you don't expect in a company like Mattel to really pay that kind of attention to, but they do, and I love the fact that they do because that really ups the realism level of this pterosaur. You can see the small, minute details are really nicely done. There are pretty much some osteoderms and stuff, it looks like, here on the face. Quite a few different little bumps. And the eye has a beautiful gloss. It's really nicely painted. Beautiful yellow with a black pupil. Both sides, the eye is really nicely done. There's no sloppiness at all. And overall, I'm really impressed with the paint application on the face, because one thing Mattel likes to do is not really apply too much paint to their figures, but that's not really the case at all with this pterosaur. I think they've honestly gone the extra mile as far as paint, and this is a huge improvement from previous figures. You can see there's a little red around the eye, then there's red that falls out from like the cheekbone up here into the snout and the mouth area, completely overtaking the nostril and everything. Kind of actually appears as though he almost has lipstick, but it still looks really nice. And the red runs up the crest, and then you've got this brown with some black striping, and then blue here, which has some blue striping that comes out. So honestly, there's so many different colors right here on the face, and it just looks fantastic. I really think they've done a great job with the color scheme that they came up with for this figure. Of course, it's got an articulated jaw. The inside of the mouth is a reddish coloration. Shockingly, it doesn't really appear to have a gloss or anything in there, which is weird because normally all of these Mattel figures have had a gloss on the inside of the mouth, but you can see that the teeth are really nicely done, and once again, another beautiful addition to this as opposed to previous ones is that the teeth are actually painted. I don't think the Pteranodon teeth were painted. I could be wrong, but I really don't remember them being painted, but these Tapejara teeth are painted, and I think it makes the entire mouth just look so much better when there is actual paint on those teeth. This thing is absolutely beautiful so far. And then as we run down the neck, you can see some very nice sculpt work here all throughout, some nice wrinkling of the skin and cracks and creases in the skin. And it kind of looks like there might be some pycnofibers here on the back that run to about the middle area of the back, and then it's just this plain skin, and it looks really nice. There's very nice sculpt work and beautiful detailing throughout. And then we get down to the feet, and the feet appear to have some more of those pycnofibers as well. They look very, very nice, and there is some articulation, it appears, in the feet themselves, which we'll get to, I guess, here in a minute. And then we come up here, we look at the actual wings, and the wing detail is very, very nice also. You can see all sorts of veins and everything all throughout the entire skin flap here of the wing. Looking at both sides, really looks beautiful, and I like that paint, that black splotchiness that's kind of put throughout. It's actually almost more like a dark blue than a black. Really looks nice. The hands, everything look beautiful as well as far as the sculpt goes. And then we look at the underside, and the underside is honestly just one solid color. There is no difference as far as coloration under here, but you can see those little black speckles that have been pretty much a trademark as far as Mattel goes, to just give it a little variation of color. They're definitely running rampant down here on the underside of this figure, and I think it helps to just give it a little bit of variation of color. Once again, there's the Jurassic Facts app code if you do want to add this to your collection. And the sculpt on the underside really, really looks beautiful. Unfortunately, there is no paint on the nails of the figure, but I don't really think that takes away from this figure at all. I think it still looks quite beautiful. You can almost actually pick up that this gray here is a slightly different shade than you see on the wings and the legs, which is very similar to a lot of the other Jurassic World figures as well, as they usually have a few different shades of the color involved, and I think it really looks quite nice on this Tapejara. Now, as I said, as far as articulation, of course you've got the jaw, you've also got the neck, which is on a swivel. The neck can also move up and down, left or right, so there is a lot of articulation right there in the neck. Of course, you've got the action feature for the Savage Strike, which is the button here on the back, causes the wings to flap, and they work really quite well. And then you've also got articulation here in the legs. I'm not really sure, unless you're going to be trying to have them catch stuff, like from the water, maybe some fish or people or something. But the articulation in the legs works really quite well. They aren't stiff or anything, they move very fluently. And overall, it's a beautiful looking pterosaur with some very nice articulation and some beautiful paint application, so I really, really like this figure. As far as a size goes, from wing to wing, you're looking at about 8 inches or about 20 centimeters. And for a height, or I'm not really sure how you would term this because it's not really a height, but a length, we'll say it that way, you're looking at about 4¼ inches or about 11 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is the Destructosaurus Velociraptor next to the Tapejara. You should be able to get a pretty good idea of the size because this is pretty much the battle damaged blue figure, but in a repainted and retooled version. So again, it's about the same size, very similar in size as the battle damaged figures. Here is the Tyrannosaurus Rex you can see next to the Tapejara, who is just completely dwarfed by the Rex himself. But again, it's giving you a pretty good idea of the size if you have any of these two figures here as to what the size of the Tapejara is. So I don't know about you guys, but I am really, really impressed with this Tapejara. I really, really am. It's beautifully done. The overall appearance of this is fantastic. It really is. I love the paint applied. I think the paint applied is beautifully done, and there are so many different versions and variations of color on this figure that I cannot help but absolutely love this more so than any of the other pterosaurs that we have previously gotten. I actually think this is without question my favorite pterosaur of the entire Mattel line, and the sculpt work itself is really nicely done as well. There is just a ton of sculpt that has been put into this. Again, the articulation of the figure is definitely really nice as well. Everything works perfectly. There's no sloppiness to any of the paint applied. I think the eyes are painted perfectly, which is something Mattel has continuously had a problem with. And the paint itself is really naturally and beautifully applied. It looks very real, doesn't look like paint, looks like body color, which is another big thing that I always look for on figures. And overall, this Tapejara is just pure beauty when it comes to the Jurassic World line. This is one of my favorite figures, I think, that has come out of the Jurassic World line in quite a while. It is really that nice. So if you do want to buy one, unfortunately, your best bet is to just keep checking Walmart, because they are not online anywhere as far as I can tell. Maybe on Amazon, but you'll probably have to buy them through a third-party seller. I will check. If they are on there, I will throw a link in the description. And if not, just go ahead and head over to your local Walmart. Keep checking, and hopefully you'll stumble upon one soon. They are really fresh, really new, just recently starting to hit shelves, so they're not super abundant quite yet, but hopefully over time they will really start to show up in larger numbers. So go ahead, pick yourself up a beautiful Jurassic World Tapejara, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.